Greetings, you guys. It's TC Atkinson from EmbracePangea.com. So a lot of you guys who have been ordering either our golden moss or our purple moss have been having questions on how to properly prepare it. Now, the first thing that we always recommend at Embrace Pangea is that you soak your moss. Soaking your moss is traditionally considered to be the second step, but we find that it's the easiest step to do first. And if you are, especially if you are a beginner to using sea moss and making your own sea moss gel at home for your own convenience, then soaking your moss first is the step that we recommend that you do instead of practicing the traditional methods. So the reason being is because when we harvest the sea moss from the ocean, you have to dehydrate it. You have to remove the water, right? You have to dry it. It goes through a drying process. And this makes it easier to ship and transport because, you don't want to have transportation of any type of liquids from the moss that is going to be drying out or dripping through your package or anything like that. So that's why we do have to dry the moss. Now, when you dry the moss and you receive it at home and you take it out of our packaging, you want to make sure that you add the water back in, right? You don't want to just take it out the packaging and put it directly into your smoothies because it will be sour, right? Because you still have a lot of the sea salt that is inside of it from the ocean, and you also have different shells, sand as well, that you do have to clean. So this is the cleaning and preparation process. First thing, this is our golden moss. You definitely want to rehydrate it, okay? And then this is our purple moss that we're making here, and you want to rehydrate it as well. Now, if you are a beginner, I would recommend the easier of the two mosses to work with if you are a beginner, if you're new to using moss, is going to be our golden moss. Now, if you are more interested in boosting your immune system, then I would say go with our purple moss because purple pigmented fruits and vegetables, they are really good for boosting your immune system because they get their purple pigment from a chemical called anthocyanin. This chemical is an antioxidant, so that's why it's really good at boosting your immune system. So if you're wondering, well, what's the difference between the two mosses? That's the major difference. That one has properties that are more in tune with helping you to boost your immune system because of the purple pigment called anthocyanin that's present inside of it, which you can tell because of the dark purple color that you do see. Now, other produce that also possess these same properties include red grapes, blueberries, blackberries, you have eggplant, and also red cabbage. These purple or very, very dark blue pigmented produce are really good for helping you to boost your immune system. So if that is your personal wellness goal, then I would recommend, if I were you, to start with the purple moss. Now keep in mind, currently when you do receive our purple moss, we sell it in 1/4 pound. Compared to our golden moss, we sell it in 1/2 pound. Alright, so if you receive our golden moss, you are going to be getting more weight of the moss because it's 1/2 pound versus our 1/4 pound purple moss, you'll be getting less weight because we sell it in 1/4 pound. So if you want to have the same volume or the same weight, you definitely want to order 2 bags of our purple moss to equal the same weight of our golden moss. Alright, now with that being said, the more moss you use to make your gel, the more gel you will get. Also, the more water you use, the more gel you will get as well. So I just want to make sure that you know that as well, because sometimes people will say, oh, well, I'm getting less moss from the purple moss. Well, that's because you're starting out with 1/4 pound, not 1/2 pound, like our golden moss, which is how you receive our golden moss in 1/2 pound bag. So with that being said, we are going to dive on in. Now, keep in mind, before we dive in, I want you to know that we already have our moss soaking overnight already. Now, when it comes to you and you're preparing your own moss at home, it's best to soak your moss between 6 and 12 hours. Please don't do more than 24 hours or 36 or anything like that. I know we do live busy lives where we have, other obligations and responsibilities, but it's very key and it's very vital that you ensure that you soak your moss for between 6 to 12 hours. You don't really need any more than that. So what we do when we're soaking our moss, we use spring water. We don't use tap, we don't use distilled, we specifically use spring water. Now, the question you're probably going to have is, well, TC, why are you even using spring water? Why not tap water, right? The reason being is because tap water, you may not know this, but a few months ago actually, I sent out a link to the EPA's website where you can go and type in your zip code, your city's zip code, and you can get the specs on what they found in your water, what heavy metals were found in your water, what chemicals, what pesticides, what pharmaceutical drugs. Because yes, you do have a filtering system that your local city municipal center does use, but it's not precise, it's not specific to everything. Sometimes we do have pharmaceutical drugs that people urinate out or defecate out that enter into our city's water supply that our city cannot filter out. We do have some heavy metals that enter into the city's water supply that the city cannot filter out. And also keep in mind, your city more than likely does add in chlorine to help with any type of bacterial overgrowth, or they do add in fluoride. And those two items you should definitely not be adding into your body. The reason I say this is because even though you are not going to be directly drinking the tap water, the fact that you are going to be using tap water, if that's what you're doing, because we don't use tap water, we use spring water. If you are going to be using tap water to rehydrate your moss, what is happening is that the water is going to be going into your moss. It's going to be soaked up and received into your moss. And then you're going to turn around and eat your moss. So in turn, you will definitely be consuming your tap water, which is why we strongly advise against not doing that. Now, for our next process, we are going to be washing, rinsing with tap water, but we're not going to be soaking with tap water. Now, if you are steaming your veggies, if you're making soups, if you're making any type of smoothies with water, you definitely also want to use spring water as well. Please do not use your tap water to make rice, steam veggies, make soups, or add to your smoothies or anything like that. You want to limit your consumption of your local tap water because you don't know what type of pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, chemicals, pesticides may be lingering in your tap water. And like I said, the EPA, they have a link on their website, and I can also post it down below. They have a link that specifically you can go there and type in your exact zip code, or if you're moving somewhere, you can type in the zip code where you're going to be relocating to, and they will let you know what type of chemicals they found inside of the tap water for that zip code. And some of the chemicals, we looked up the chemicals that are here in our city, and some of them have been linked to causing cancer. So I just want you to be an informed health and holistic minded individual when you are making your life choices. So like I said, our first step is going to be the soaking because it makes the cleaning process so much easier. And if you are a beginner, you want the cleaning process to go as smoothly as possible. Why? Because you want to have a pleasant experience. Being on a healthy and a holistic journey does not mean it has to be anything that is hard, laborious, or something that is unpleasant. It should all be very healthy, all be very happy, and all be very pleasant so that you'll want to do it again. Because it's not a sprint, it's not a 30-day challenge, it's a lifelong journey. So now we are getting ready to do step number 2 of the Embrace Pangaea process for making your own sea moss gel at home. So we're going to start with our golden moss because like I said, it is the easier of the two mosses to prepare. And so we're going to start by just rinsing off. Remember, our moss has already been soaking, so it's already rehydrated. We're just going to be rinsing it off now. So let's dive on in. Alright, so now this is what I'm trying to show you guys. This is just some residue of some sand that was left over or washed off of your moss. So this is why you don't want to go and just take your moss out of the packaging and then put it inside of your smoothie. You definitely do want to go ahead and clean your moss first. Now, it's very important that when you are using our purple moss or when you're cleaning our purple moss that you get a heavy duty bristle brush. Now, this is going to help you to really get in there and remove any type of debris from the ocean that may be trapped in your purple moss. So first things first, I always get my brush, and then you want to open up the moss. See, and it's going to have different items inside of it, and you just want to brush it out. Just go ahead and brush it out. And you want to get in there. Don't be afraid. Like, really get in there. Really get in there. Really want to get in there. And then, if it's not coming out, then just pick it off. Pick off the shells. Just pick off the shells that may not have come out. But you're going to do yourself so much of a good job in the service if you do use a brush. Definitely. You want to make sure that you are definitely going through and just rinsing. And then put it over there and move on to the next one. Now you are going to see variations in color. Some of them may be like a light purple like this. Others may be super dark purple, but that's just the nature of it. Alright, so now we've done our brushing, do our picking. When you start off, you want to put your burner to high because you want your water to come to a roaring boil. This water, once again, is spring water, not tap, not distilled, spring water. So this is about 21 ounces of sea moss. Not about, this is 21 ounces of sea moss. Now your water has come to a roaring boil. And what we do is we definitely just turn the fire down on low. Okay, we just put it onto low. And then we just start adding in our sea moss. Just add it in. This is 20 ounces of sea moss to 50 ounces of water. Now, the amount of sea moss you use and the amount of water that you use will contribute to how thick or how loose your gel is. If you make a very loose gel, it's totally fine. Your sea moss is still good. Now you want to stir. Okay? You want to stir and your sea moss is going to disintegrate. But you're going to have to stir for about a good 5 to 15 minutes. This is the stove top method. Now what you could also do is just use whole sea moss. You don't even have to put it into, make it into a gel. You can just rehydrate it, and then when you get ready to make whatever you're trying to make, let's say a soup or a sauce or anything blended, all you have to do is just take the moss and then put it into your smoothie. But we prefer to have it in the gel method. One thing to note, so you know that your gel is starting to form and your sea moss is starting to melt out, is that the water will start looking yellow instead of looking all clear. See? One trick that you can do is to do figure eights. When you do figure eights, this definitely helps in breaking down your moss so that it can start gelling faster. Alright? Do figure eights. So you can stir, but when you do figure eights, you're adding more friction to your moss so that it can start breaking down. Now look, as you can see, the sea moss is definitely melting out because look, when I put it down, whereas before, when I first started out, you would see the clear water, right? Crystal clear spring water. Then when I first started, you started seeing the yellow. Now you're starting to see the gel. And see? And see? See, it's starting to break down. Alright. Now you just want to keep on stirring. Now this can be a really good stage for you to stop at. You do not have to have all of your sea moss melted out. You can definitely stop here, and when it cools, it will definitely cool into a gel, like a jello, right? That's totally going to be up to you and your personal preference. Either way is fine. There is no perfect way, right? There is no perfect way. They're just best practices. Now for us, we're totally fine with the sea moss being like this, but we definitely can go a little bit more in our stirring. And if you want, you can also add more water. If you see that you want more volume of sea moss, it's totally going to be up to you. Because remember, this is 20 ounces of rehydrated, not dry, rehydrated sea moss, golden sea moss that you get from embracepangea.com to 50 ounces of spring water. So now we're ready on to the next one. As you know, we're going to turn this down on low. And this is going to be our purple moss. Literally just drop it in. Drop it in, drop it in, drop it in. As you can see, within a few seconds of stirring, the color is already starting to change. That means that your moss is already starting to break down. One thing you will notice about the purple moss is that it definitely starts gelling a whole lot faster than the golden moss. The only thing about it is just the cleaning process, which is why if you are new and you're looking just for like the easiest moss to use, I would recommend the golden moss, but the purple moss definitely gels way faster. Like, see, it's like super, you see? So at this point, this is still 50 ounces of water to 21 ounces of moss. So what you could do is, if you want, you could add in more water. You definitely could add in more water. Mind you, we use spring water. We do not use tap water, you guys. See, look how this is already gelling up right here. It's like super gooey. So we are definitely going to be adding more water. I'm going to add 10 more ounces of water and then see what that does. So here we go. I'm adding in 10 more ounces. Remember to zero out your scale. This is going to be spring water. All right, so we're going to do 10 ounces. Boom, 10, we're done. We're just going to pour it in. And we're just going to store. stir. You always want to make sure you stir because, see, it starts to really clump up. That's why you always want to start stirring. Alrighty, so now we are finished making both our golden moss as well as our purple moss gel. Here's the thing to note. When you order the golden moss from our website, embracepangea.com, you will get a half a pound of our golden moss. When you order our purple moss from embracepangea.com, you will get a quarter of a pound. So essentially you're getting half of the golden moss, right, in volume, right, compared to half of the purple moss, half of the purple moss in volume compared to the golden moss. But look at the difference. We have 50 ounces of water, liquid, that we've added in spring water to 20 ounces of golden moss. Over here, we have 100 ounces of water added into 21 ounces of purple moss, right? So essentially, you can make twice the volume of gel with our purple moss compared to our golden moss. So that's why it's not really a major difference between our golden and purple moss when it comes to weight. Because yes, you do get half the quantity. This is how we pre-package it. We pre-package half the quantity of our golden moss, but you can use twice the amount of liquid to give you the final volume of twice the amount of golden moss. So you get 2 times as more moss gel in the end, right? You get twice as much moss gel in the end if you use our purple moss versus our golden moss. So that is what the difference is really going to be. So if you are more interested in boosting your immune system, then definitely you want to invest in our purple moss. If you're someone that's just starting out and you want an easier cleaning process, then definitely invest in our golden moss. Now, if you're someone that's like, oh, I'm not really sure either way, well, you can do what we do. You can get 1 bag of each, 1 bag of our golden moss and 1 bag of our purple moss from embracepangea.com, and you can just rotate between the two because that's what we do in our family. But for now, you can definitely for sure get the dried version of the golden moss as well as our purple moss. It already comes in pre-packaged bags, half a pound of our golden moss and a quarter pound for our purple moss. But as you can see, they are relatively the same amount of weight, right? What I weighed out, not what you're going to receive, but what I weighed out was 20 ounces of our golden and then 21 ounces of our purple. And I used 100 ounces of water, and this is 50 ounces of water, spring water. And as you can see, you definitely get more with our purple moss than our golden moss, because the purple moss just gels up in a much thicker gel, right, compared to our golden moss. So that is the difference between the two. So just so you know, yes, we do source our sea moss from the Caribbean, and our sea moss is wild crafted. Wild crafted simply means that we naturally harvest the sea moss from where it naturally grows. And then we also sun dry our sea moss. So we don't use any farming practices or anything like that. We definitely get it directly from the ocean and then we dry it. So sometimes we may not be able to have as much sea moss readily available to you, but we do have it in stock. And the reason being is because we cannot dry sea moss if it's raining. If it's raining, then time you put the sea moss outside to dry, the rain is just going to come in the afternoon and just wet the moss right back up. So I just want you all to be aware of that. But we do have both our golden moss and our purple moss currently in stock and ready and waiting for you to consume so that you can get your body nutrient dense with the food. I really hope you enjoyed this installment. Please remember to share, like, follow, subscribe, and comment. If you would like to receive any of the items discussed in this video, just jet on over to our site, embracepangea.com. There you will find our complete selection of natural hygiene products and herbal detoxes. If you would like me to speak at your next event, simply submit your request by going to our site, embracepangea.com. From our menu selection, click Contact Us and then select Event Speaking Request. If you're ready to dive deeper into cleansing and detoxing your body, then I look forward to seeing you at our upcoming detox retreat. For more details about the retreat, just go over to our site, embracepangea.com. From our menu section, click Detox Retreats and enter your best contact information so I can send all the good details over for our upcoming retreat. If you would like to earn a living healing your community, then join the Embrace Pangaea family and become either a distributor or affiliate. For more details about these programs, just go to our site, embracepangea.com. From our menu section, click Income Opportunities. With that being said, I'll leave you nothing less than peace, love, and wellness.
Embrace the new you with Embrace Pangaea.